But it's like, you're not getting the fiber in there. You're not getting the satisfaction. You're not going to get everything. And like they say, don't eat processed foods. And then that's very processed. So it's kind of hypocritical.
Hi, I am Alok and I'm your host at Fitarobic. Welcome to Fitness Pro Chat, the podcast by Fitarobic.
Welcome to Fitness Pro Chat by Fitarobic. If you're looking to improve your health and well-being to lead a healthy, fit, and fulfilling life, whether you're an amateur or a professional athlete, this podcast is for you.
Nutrition is the critical aspect of lifestyle transformation. One of the key factors to consider here is nutrient-dense food. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Let me welcome Sharona Schnall to Fitness Pro Chat with Fitarobic. Sharona Schnall has finished her master's degree in human nutrition and recently completed a dietetic internship with a focus in medical nutrition therapy. She has a bachelor's degree in family and consumer sciences, nutrition, and dietetics from California State University, Northridge. And now she's on the way to becoming a registered dietitian. So let's discuss with Sharona how eating nutrient-rich food can create a positive change in our lives. Welcome to the show, Sharona.
Hi, thank you so much. So yes, it could really make a positive change in our life. I know a lot of people say, oh, I can't help it. It's too expensive to eat healthy. It's my genes. It's this, it's that. Yes, those all play a really big impact, but we need to empower ourselves and realize a lot of it also is in our control, and a lot of it is our mindset and our choices we make every day. And what you eat really has a huge impact on your life. Like, for example, if someone's seen like on the Netflix documentary Blue Zones, some of the poorest people there were still some of the most healthiest, living over 100. And we can't live their exact life. We could take things like that into our own, and it can be helpful. Like these people, for example, very inspiring to watch. If you haven't, they're like 100 years old or more, and they're doing it without diabetes and heart disease and all these problems a lot of us have in America. And it's because they're taking care of themselves properly. They're eating a lot of plant-based foods. They're exercising, even though they're not going to gym. They're walking a lot. They're spending time with family and friends, community, and cooking homemade food and things like that. And I know, like, even for myself, it's easy to make excuses that I'm like, you know what, it's too much effort. I have to study. I have to do this. I have to do that. But it's like, if you really care enough about something, you can make it happen. And there are ways to do it. And it's like, when we make excuses, we're just hurting ourselves. It's not always an excuse. Sometimes really people are in a really bad situation and they really can't do much right now, but there's always probably a little something can do. There's so much to say about the impact of nutrition. But yeah, just sum up for this question, you know, when you eat good, you feel good. And when you eat like crap, you feel like crap. That's like really true. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you on that. And I think, right, wonderfully, you talked about the blue zones. They talked about 10 key aspects that people in these blue zones follow. Specifically, they are having the right kind of nutrient-dense food, and most of it being the plant-based food that we focus. So taking a cue from that, what, according to you, would be an ideal balance that we should strive for in our daily diet when it comes to macronutrients specifically?
Yeah, so having balance in our diet is so important, and can't give like super specifics with questions because stuff matters so much on the person. Like if they have medical conditions or something, what's their goals, what's their activity level, their height, their gender, and more. But a general guideline to follow is like half the plate to be non-starchy vegetables, like a lot of greens and red vegetables, like romaine lettuce, tomato, bell peppers, things like that. A quarter of the plate to be lean protein. Could be like tofu. This could be like beans have protein, but they'd be more in like the starch area of the plate, which is the other one for it. But like some people count nuts as a protein, but it depends. But it's more of a healthy fat. There's like chicken, there's beef, there's fish, there's tempeh, there's so many things, soy. And when you get the meats, you want to check and see if it says lean on it, that it's like less fat, less saturated fat, took it out. So you want all those. You want like a side of dairy or some alternative. Like broccoli also has calcium. There's soy milk or other soy products. Tofu has calcium too, actually. You want all of these things. I know there's a lot of people online that demonize and they're like, don't eat any carbs. You need to do keto. Keto is good for some people, like it's meant for kids with seizures to help their epilepsy, to recover from that. Or like there might be certain people with medical conditions that need it under like supervision. And even that's still needing long-term studies. But for most people, it's not sustainable. It's not safe. But people go from one extreme to the next. Really, the reality is all of us are eating too many carbohydrates. And that's the problem. Doesn't mean we need zero. We just need a lot less and the right amount and the right kinds. It's really different if you're going to eat Pringles or Lay's chips or something like that, or if you're going to eat some quinoa or some bulgur wheat or some brown rice. Want to eat more of the right kind of carbs, the ones that aren't ultra processed and that minimal ingredients instead. But yeah, it's all a balance. So because glucose is actually the brain's preferred fuel source. So it's really important. And if you don't have enough glucose, it's going to start taking up your protein and turning that into glucose. And you don't want to lose like your muscle and your protein. So like even athletes know this. They eat carbs too. And they say it's usually like 45 to 60% carbohydrates in your diet. But that doesn't mean most of the plate should be full of carbs, which is what it sounds like with the percentage. Only a quarter of the plate, and it just adds up fast. And I mean, in the fruit and the dairy and other things, there'll be carbs. And yeah, it's very important. And people have a better mood when they eat carbohydrates than when they completely cut it out and have other negative side effects coming out. And healthy fats, it's like protein, will help keep you full and satisfied. And good for your skin and so many things. Proteins are the building blocks for our bones, our muscles, our cartilage, our skin, our blood. They're really essential for our health. And I know there's like a huge protein craze now on social media, like eat more protein, eat more protein. And I think it can be, really helpful if you're trying to build muscle. But you have to remember to do strength training with it, not just eating protein. It's not going to magically make muscle. And you don't have to have like a huge amount. Like it really depends on different factors, and it's good to like talk to a professional before doing anything extreme. But I feel like for some people, I'm like, oh, they like are saying like, oh, for every pound of weight you have, you need a gram of protein, and like that's too much for a lot of people. Like you have to find a way, like, oh, look at evidence-based research and guidelines, and then like also listen to your body. If you're like full and you're forcing yourself to eat more chicken and things, that's not good. But I know like for weight loss, for example, higher protein can be really helpful because you need a calorie deficit and you don't want to be too hungry. Or like there's burn victims in the hospital, they need extra protein to repair things. So I think it really depends, but definitely don't want to just focus on protein. You need enough carbohydrates too. You need healthy fats. You need a lot of vegetables to focus on everything. And yeah, the carbohydrates will help you have energy. But a lot of people are like, I'm tired after eating carbs. That's because it's too much. So that's why. But it'll still help convert to energy for later. Having a combination of all these things is going to help you not have as much inflammation. And who wants that? And yeah, they say eat the rainbow, which is like have so much colors and nutrients in your diet. And you're going to have that from having different foods. You're going to be the most satisfied. Like also focusing on fiber, like in the vegetables, or it's in the whole grain fiber, and every meal is really important. And yeah.
I think that was wonderfully explained, Sharona, and we talked about a lot of things, and we will get into all of that in our next question.
Let's try and understand about protein, carbs, and healthy fats, because you talked about them and they are essential as part of a diet. So, how these macronutrients play an important role in our body, and how do we incorporate more of these macronutrients so that we eat a healthy and balanced meal?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I could go like on and on and on about the roles of place in the body. There's so many, but like I was saying, we have to think, okay, let's say I'm going to the gym, I'm going to work out. You're kind of like breaking down your muscle and you have to repair and build it back up. And you don't want that gym effort to be for nothing. So you need
Yeah.
enough protein that you could heal that. And it's like, okay, another thing, you need protein, help stabilize your blood sugar levels, especially if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, or you want to prevent that. Or, we don't want too big of spikes for anyone and get too
Yeah.
hangry or anything. I know like there's a huge thing going on social media right now where everyone's like, oh my gosh, you can't have a glucose spike. And like partly it's normal, but we don't want it to be more than
Yeah.
it needs to be. Like, you'll just have a better day and like less crazy cravings if you have like a high protein breakfast, high protein lunch, and like you're like full. Because a lot of times your body is just like hungry, and that's why you're like, oh my gosh, I need this donuts, I need this drive-through, this that. Also going too many hours without eating, or sometimes you're not
That's
eating
true.
enough protein. Yeah. Or sometimes you're not eating enough protein. You could be like, I just ate an hour ago. Why am I hungry? But it's like maybe all you had was waffles for breakfast and it needs like a protein source. It needs like healthy fat, more fiber. So an example of that, let's say you did want to have waffles still. Maybe you could add some like nut butter to it for some healthy fats and protein. You could have like some plain Greek yogurt on the side, so it's not high in sugar. Then you could add like some chocolate protein powder or something to it. You could maybe get like a whole grain waffle, maybe just one, sprinkle berries on top for sweetness and more fiber and vitamins. Like that's one example. I mean, there's so many different ways to include the balanced meal. But I guess like
That's
it's
true.
really important. I think if someone doesn't have like eating disorder background, if it's okay for them, if they keep a food journal and you're writing things down and you're like tracking, I had this much of this food group today, this or that could really help you balance. That you realize you're like, wait a second, I didn't have any protein in this meal, or like, oh, I didn't have any vegetables. Like it helps you track the food groups. So that's really important. Just seeing variety on your plate, and just don't need to make your meal complicated. Just start at the basics, and they say like keep it simple, stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely rightly said. And I think with in equal proportion, vitamins and minerals are also very important. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about them. So how do you, in your perspective, vitamins and minerals can be added to our diet, and in
Mm-hmm.
addition to the macronutrients that we talk about?
Yes. Some people will need supplements. Not everyone needs supplement. A lot of people, it's marketed to them and they're unnecessarily taking it or too big an
Yeah,
amount. If you're going to take it, you want to try to make sure at least it's a good brand and not something sketchy. What do they call it? It's
absolutely.
like UPS approved or USP. No, I think it's USP. One of them that means it's some more credible.
USDA.
No, but there's something else that's also called USP or UPS or something, but also USD. Yeah. And there's a lot of people are like, I need a greens powder, this or that. It's like, no, just eat a lot of vegetables and fruits and like whole grains, good things in your diet. You'll get these vitamins, like especially eating so many vegetables, so important. And when you think about like, oh, what these do for your body, it can motivate you more to eat it. Like, for example, B vitamins help our cells grow and stay healthy. B vitamins a lot of times in the whole grains, like the brown carbohydrates, like brown rice, for example. Iron is really essential for red blood cells and muscles. One place you could
Yeah,
find iron is in meat. And like, it's okay to have red meat or other meat. It's just a lot of times when people are eating meat, like we have to think about it in these studies that, oh, meat can increase the risk for heart disease or this or that. A lot of people, when they're eating meat, it's not like good quality meat. They're probably eating it from McDonald's or something else. And
that's
then
true.
there's another thing. Yeah. And then there's another thing to think about. Like, are they cooking the meat in a bunch of oil or like way too much butter? Like, deep frying it, like the way the meat is cooked. Are they like skimming off the extra fat, or they're just eating a bunch of the saturated fat that's with it? Are they having a salad with it, or they're just eating fries with it? Like, you know how eggs are controversial? Oh, they're good for you, they're bad for you. They're like
Absolutely.
still, yeah, they're still doing studies on that. But part of them are, they're still looking at that. It's hard to separate. They're like, oh, is it the eggs, or is it people when they eat eggs, they also have a bunch of butter. They also have a bunch of white bread with it and this and that. Like, so it could be hard to see, but also it's like, not any food is like, oh, this is good or this is bad. It depends like the context and the dose. But also most people, maybe they're having like double the amount of meat than they need. Like when you learn actual portion sizes, then it's shocking. Usually eating way too much, like especially at restaurants, 2 to 3 times the amount. Even at home, usually just need the palm of your hand. But of course, like, it depends on the person. So yeah, and you need a lot of vegetables with it to balance out the cholesterol. So yeah, that's one example. Manganese is also really good for you. Helps keep your bones and nervous system healthy. We can all use help with our nervous system, especially nowadays. Zinc is really great for the immune system too, and healing the wounds. Vitamin C, keep your immune system strong, help your bodies heal quickly. Vitamin K, you get a cut or injury to help you heal faster. Vitamin A, good for your eyes, your immune system, your cells. Vitamin B, for your nerves and blood cells also. A lot of the vitamins have like similar functions and they like support each other.
That's true.
Yeah, potassium is good for helping you build muscle, keep your heart healthy. It's a type of electrolyte. So for example, a lot of people, they have like a banana with some nut butter or something before they exercise because the potassium's good for you. Yeah, magnesium is also good, muscle function and energy production. But I don't think like each person should obsess and they'll be like, okay, I need this vitamin. I'm going to get it from this and this and that. Like if you just have a lot of variety in your diet and all different food groups and a lot of vegetables, you should be able to reach it usually, the amount of vitamins you need. And like, it's good to also blood and urine tests, like a yearly checkup at the doctor and see. But for most people though, most people need a vitamin D supplement and deficient in that because it's hard to get it from the diet. And also a lot of us don't go outside enough because of the weather, because we want to be on the TV, because we're working or different things. Yeah, and the vitamin D can have like a big impact on your mood and other things. And something that's really interesting, it helps some people to take vitamin D supplements when they're having a panic attack. It helps them calm down.
Yeah.
That's how influential it is in mood. So I thought that's crazy. Yeah, I guess I go on and on about it, but that's like a short summary for that.
No, I think that's really wonderful, and you covered a lot of vitamins in that spectrum. And vitamins are equally important alongside macronutrients that we just discussed in the previous question. It's important to understand is how do we plan nutrient-dense food items because we are busy with our schedules or families or work, and that sometimes disrupts our daily routine and we may not get a lot of opportunities to have a dietary preferences. So in those scenarios, how do we try and keep a tab on the effective meal strategy that we should follow?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Very relevant. As with the other things, like what works for one person is going to work for another, but I'll still make some suggestions and people could take what works for them and leave the rest. Especially for people with busy schedules and families, one really great thing is buy like a lot of frozen vegetables, like a lot of frozen foods. And that's like really easy to warm. It's already pre-cut and pre-washed. Maybe frozen berries they could just throw in a smoothie or in something. Have a lot of canned items, like canned beans. It's like so convenient, so much easier than cooking the beans that sometimes takes forever. Or like canned vegetables, like I don't like it as much, but it's still a good option if you need for some things to help you. A lot of food, you can prep it ahead of time a bit, and that'll really save you time in the moment. Maybe earlier in the day or the night before, you could wash and cut the vegetables or at least organize it in your fridge. Like just when you have extra time, try to do what you can. So later when you're more busy, it's not as many steps. Or like making, big portions of meals ahead of time. And then some people keep it in the freezer. So on those busy days, they could just warm it up. Like with soups, can make a big soup. And then there's special freezer containers or things, and that's easy to warm up. Yeah, like maybe don't cook each day like, oh, I'm just cooking enough for today. Like
Yeah.
make the recipes a lot bigger. That's gonna maybe just eat the same thing for a few days, so make it easier for busy people. Just extra servings, or keep the extra in the freezer for some other time. You could get a lot of nutrient dense things that don't take that long to cook. Like there's rice. I see there's a lot of brown rice packets that it's like warm up in the microwave for a minute. You could get like canned tuna is an easy protein source, canned salmon, canned chicken. There's so many things. But yeah, we also have to keep in mind that, yeah, these things will cost extra when it's like more prepared for you. But still, even if you pay for that, I think it'll still be less cost than if you're going out to eat all the time, than just paying a little bit extra that, okay, this is a frozen vegetable. Sometimes it's even on sale and it's less expensive, the frozen and the canned versions a lot of times. And also it's like, let's say you're like, okay, I need to buy this food fresh and this food fresh. And then it's like, it just dies in your fridge and you don't use it because you're like, fresh is best. Then you wasted your money. And that's a hard lesson that I had to learn many times. But yeah, planning the meals will help you not waste food. It can be hard. Everyone in the family is picky and I want this, I want that, of how to make it work. So like if you could sit down and talk with your family and help plan it together, and if people have a role in it, then they'll be happier about it, or if they're helping cook it. Or a lot of times you could do something where it's like people kind of making their own, like maybe some kind of salad bar dinner that's like, okay, I have beans here, I have this vegetable, I have this chicken, this, that, and then like people just take what they want and put it together. You could do like whole wheat pitas, low fat cheese, and different vegetables, and people make their own kind of pizza the way they want it. You could do oatmeal. It's like, okay, they could flavor it with different things. Like you could get, the quick 1 minute oats. It's like a little bit less fiber than the rolled oats, but it's a lot quicker to cook. And just, you don't want those packets where they add a bunch of sugar to it, but the big box that it's like plain quick 1 minute oats. Protein powder is something that's like super convenient addition to meals. You can add it to your oatmeal or other things. Chia seed pudding is actually really easy to make. Like I think really busy people, they need to find just like really simple recipes. And then as you practice it, you also get faster at making it and being more confident with it. And yeah, people with different dietary preferences, like for example, let's say some people in your family need low sodium and some don't. Maybe just make everything salt free. And then the ones who want salt, they'll just add it to their own plate to make it simpler. They do that in the
I think that
hospital
that's
too.
a wonderful suggestion that you just gave. Make things
Yeah.
salt free, and if you need additional salt, or someone who prefers to add salt, they can just add it on top. But
Yeah.
obviously they need to
Yeah.
also keep it in moderation.
Yeah, of course. But like, you don't want to make yourself crazy. You're like, I have to make this separate and this separate. Like, for example, my grandparents come over for dinner and it's like, they need low sodium, but then like everyone else wants salt in their chicken soup. They're like, I don't want a salt-free chicken soup. It's kind of gross. So
That's
just
true.
makes it
That's true.
salt-free. We add our own. But yeah, you don't want too much. And if you put a bunch of herbs in food though, that makes a big difference. A lot of flavor, a lot of herbs and seasoning don't need as much salt too. Yeah, and I feel like it really just like depends. Like there's some people that they don't care and they could just keep eating like the same recipes over and over again. And some people are like, I need more variety.
Yeah.
So it really depends. Some people, they'll like batch cook where it's like, okay, I'm going to make a bunch of brown rice for the week. I'm going to make a bunch of this vegetable and this and whatever. And then throughout the week, you'll season it the way you want. And you could turn something into like a poke bowl, and then you could turn into a lettuce wrap one day, and then you could turn this into a burrito one day. Like the same ingredients and just turn into looking like different things maybe.
Yeah, and in addition to that, so let's also talk about snacking, because snacking is again another very important part of the meal, and that's where most people lose out or go off track of their entire day's effort that they will be making in keeping themselves on track, especially when it comes to having a nutrient dense meals. So what are some of the, say, nutrient dense snacks that you suggest to include in a healthy diet that people can have on a day-to-day basis?
Yes, I appreciate you bringing this up because so many people, they think like, I'm not allowed to have a snack. Oh, it's too many calories, this and that. But it just really
Yeah.
depends. Like, okay, we don't be snacking on cookies and chips all the time, but like having nutrient dense snacks, that's actually good for your metabolism, and it'll help you not overeat at your meals and not be too hungry, and have smaller meals throughout the day. And that'll also help you absorb the nutrition better. So some examples of good healthy snacks is like some low-fat cottage cheese, some
Yeah.
berries in it. You can put some hemp seeds on that. That's one thing that's really delicious and nutritious. Another thing, a lot of people like to have baked sweet potatoes, and then they like load the sweet potato with things. They like put some Greek yogurt in there, some black beans, some corn, some herbs. Like that could be something yummy. I've been seeing a lot of people make like desserts in their air fryer where like they're putting like a banana or apple cinnamon and cooking a little bit in their air fryer oven, and like that looks really good, and just adding some Greek yogurt to that and some hemp seeds to that too. Other really good snack is like for busy people especially, okay, a string cheese, and if you could find low fat is better. String cheese with some grapes or fruit or something and some nuts. That's something simple as a snack. The chia seed pudding, like I was saying, that's a really good snack. Ricotta cheese is good, and you could put that on whole grain toast and some peaches or something on that. Like, really depends on the person and what they like and what's convenient for them. But you want to think about each snack. Okay, where's my healthy fat source? Where's my fiber source? And where's my protein source, especially, and some carbohydrates, like maybe avocado toast. But it depends on the person how much avocado. Some people like that's not good for them to eat like a huge amount of avocado, and it's gonna make them gain weight. Some people, they need more. And I've been seeing lately people add cottage cheese to their avocado guacamole or Greek yogurt, and they'll boost the protein. And I tried it and it wasn't bad. You just need to add extra seasoning, and then it's pretty good.
Awesome. So another aspect, and this is about superfoods, because today, if I see, there are a lot of superfoods that are being sold on Amazon or various other marketplaces, and most of these are artificially or produced or processed superfoods. You mixed some of the nutrients. How about we discuss on some of the naturally available superfoods? And especially if I talk about the Indian context, we have superfoods like the millets, which has been promoted for ages now, and that used to be the staple of our diets. And there are a lot of other plant-based foods that are part of the super family. With respect to the misconceptions around superfood that is revolving, where everyone has started to believe that only something which comes in a packaged form mentioned as superfood is actually a superfood, while it is not. So how would you try and help people understand the difference and break this myth of superfood concept altogether?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Like, for example, with the greens powder, like we were talking about before, they're like, oh, this fits 36 different vegetables, vitamins, and whatever in it. But it's like, you're not getting the fiber in there. You're not getting the satisfaction. You're not going to get everything. And like they say, don't eat processed foods. And then that's very processed. So it's kind of hypocritical. But yeah, a lot of superfoods, like, are just like regular foods that are super good for you, but it's just like saying, oh, this is a superfood. It's like sexy marketing, and everyone wants like a magic pill, and they're like, give me that. But like, no, that's not reality. People just want your money, and that's why like, oh, these influencers that give such misinformation, they get so many views because everyone just wants, oh, I want something easy, but that's not how it works. Like, seeing posts where it's like someone says, drink my lemon detox tea and you'll lose like 10 pounds in a week or whatever it is. They'd say different crazy claims. It's like, yes, lemon water is very good for you, but like these people, they just make claims that they're like, oh, I'm skinny, so people will believe me, but that doesn't mean that's how they got that way.
Absolutely. Very true on this.
Yeah. I'd say still some foods, I guess I'd call superfoods, that they're not like magical miracle cures, but they're still like very nutrition packed. Like the chia seeds, again, I want to say for example, it's
That's true.
really high in fiber and protein. It has omega-3s that are good for your brain and more. And it's so easy to add in. I want to try it as a salad dressing or a jam. I've been having it mostly as a pudding or in smoothies. Also, it's kind of a superfood for like if you're someone that suffers with constipation, it works like a laxative really easily. It really goes. And there's berries, especially blueberries and other berries. There's so many studies that are saying like they think it's going to really help prevent like dementia, prevent Alzheimer's and so many different things. It's anti-cancer, like it has a lot of antioxidants, anti-inflammation. The black beans also antioxidant, a lot of green vegetables, broccoli, like some of the things that seem the best, but really like we don't want to only focus on superfoods because like too much of anything is not good and we need variety in our diet and all the different nutrition, but definitely we want to keep these in it. Also, high fiber foods are super good for you. But if that's all you're eating, you could get constipated from that too, or digestive problems. You don't want too much fiber. I'd say like the sweet potatoes are also known to be a superfood and like they're super delicious and good for you. I mean, you could really call like so many different foods a superfood. This has this and that helps prevent that. Yeah, I'd say just eat a variety in your diet and that's what's best instead of focusing on superfoods. Oh, but one more thing, like actually maybe like cottage cheese is a superfood and Greek yogurt. Cause like when you look at the macronutrients, you're like, wow, like half a cup of cottage cheese is only 90 calories and like 11 grams protein. You're like, whoa, that's really good. And like on the plain Greek yogurts too. But yeah, you want everything included in there. But oatmeal also, that's like super filling when you have like an oatmeal breakfast.
And I think the simple explanation to a superfood is anything that's nutrient dense, low in calorie, and it helps, and it comes with packed with a lot of vitamins and minerals, and it helps to drive or augment bodily functions. I think all such foods can be superfood.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's another important topic that I wanted to ask with you is on supplements. And we talked about it. You mentioned that supplements are not important. And this is the conversation which I'm already having with a lot of other experts on this show and in the other forums. Do we really need supplements? And if at all we need supplements, so how do we complement that? We do not consume supplements or we do not have an overdose of supplements.
Yeah, so it really depends on the person. Like if someone has a nutrient deficiency or they can't eat certain foods for a certain reason, medical conditions and different things, like it depends. You talk to a doctor about it. Some people will need supplements, but most people are taking it when it's not necessarily, and it's best to just get it from the food source and having a balanced diet. And, taking supplements is kind of risky and dangerous because they're not really regulated. So like, there's some you could see, this seems like a high quality one, but there's not that much supervision on them. And a lot of times, like, you'll only hear about, this supplement has these harmful effects once they've hurt so many people. And even then, it's not always really out in the media and reported. Yeah. But I mean, some ways you could try to tell, like, is this supplement a red flag? Is like if a Kardashian's promoting it, it's probably not good. like you need people with like ethics and morals promoting it, not people that they just want money, not that they make outrageous claims. This is going to help you have my body or something like that. And you want to really be careful because it's like, even though, vitamins could be good for you, you could get toxicity from having too much if you're having too high a doses or too many. So yeah, I think for supplements, like I was saying, really depends. Like talk to like a doctor or a dietitian about it. And some are better than others. And most people need vitamin D. Yeah. And I mean, or it's like, let's say you're an old person that's trouble going bathroom, or I guess not only for old people. Some people, like they might need a fiber supplement, that'll help them. But I mean, you eat chia seed pudding, that really works really well for a lot of people. Or popcorn is really good. Apples and different things with fiber. I mean, protein, like I guess some people count protein powder as a supplement, and that could be helpful as like a cheap protein source. And especially if you're trying to lose weight and you need to get in extra protein, but you don't want it to be like the only thing. Part of the problem with supplements is people are only relying on supplements and they're like barely eating. Like you need real food too, and it's supposed to supplement, like be in addition to, not like instead of.
Absolutely. I think very well explained about supplements.
Thank
So
you.
from there, let's move on to the next question, and which is more about planning our each meal. And when we talk about breakfast, because there are a lot of people who still consider that if they skip breakfast, that would be quite healthy for them. On the contrary, it's not. There have been research that asks or recommends that people should have breakfast as early meal of the day. And even if they do not, it's not that something that they should worry about, but it's important that they eat moderately throughout their day. So what are your thoughts on having breakfast as the early meal of the day or the first meal of the day?
Yeah, I think breakfast is super important because it can really help prevent you from like overeating later. That's like, I didn't eat all day. Now it's late afternoon, lunchtime. You're like, I'm starving. Now you're going to have less self-control. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I need this takeout. That's like not going to be the best choice for you. You're going to be like, yes, I need the fries. Yes, I need the sandwich. And then you're going to feel like a food coma and so uncomfortable after and regret it.
That's true.
And it's like if you had breakfast probably and you weren't as starving, you probably have better self-control, that when you're out somewhere, you're like, okay, I'm going to choose the salad or whatever's the best choice for you. So it really affects your self-control and your thinking. It makes you want a bunch of quick, fast energy, like a bunch of sugar, a bunch of white carbohydrates. And yeah, like we're saying, could help your blood sugar levels, help you out, control your cravings better, be less hungry. So many different things it's good for. And like your body needs fuel. So it's really important. I mean, there's so much misinformation. I think about like, oh, where did it come from? Maybe part of it came from, okay, what do people usually have for breakfast? Super sugary cereal. So they think, oh, I'll skip breakfast, I'll lose weight. But it's like, okay, breakfast is good for you. It's just you need a different kind of breakfast, you know? Like if you're having hard-boiled eggs, some plain Greek yogurt, some berries in it, some oatmeal or something like that, that's going to be very good for you. And yeah, of course, could depend on the person, what's good for them. But a lot of people also think, okay, I'm going to eat less this way. Like I said, you're not going to eat less. You're going to be more hungry later. And then you're going to have less time to burn it off during the day. It's also going to slow down your metabolism. Maybe your body's going to be thinking, oh, I'm starving. It's going to hold on to fat more. And it really messes you up in a lot of ways. There's a lot of studies about it. But I think like it depends the person though. Like if they're doing it as an intermittent fasting, but they're still eating enough and it works for them. Like for some people, it works for them. But a lot of people, they're just skipping breakfast and like they didn't properly fuel themselves the night before. Like maybe if you had like a big dinner, like it's okay or whatever. It depends if you're on like a certain plan. But for most people, a healthy breakfast is a good idea. And like for busy people, like I was saying, like it can be annoying to be like, okay, now let me take out the pan. Now let me cook some eggs. Now I have to wash the pan. I have to do this and that. Okay, like if you just make a bunch of hard-boiled eggs in the beginning of the week and then you have that ready for you in the morning, that'll be quick and convenient. A lot of people, they're making like some kind of oatmeal, not casserole, I forgot what you call it, but something like that in a pan that's already cooked ahead of time, and then you just take that out. Or like overnight oats, it's really easy the night before and it just soaks in it. Or like chia seed pudding the night before, making it like less work for yourself. Some people, they make like healthy breakfast muffins or like egg cups where like they use the muffin tins and they're cooking all the eggs. Like that could be a good way to do it. I mean, just something high protein and balanced. And you want to also get in a lot of water in the morning before breakfast too, and before every meal, to help you feel more full and just you don't want your body to be dehydrated. So yeah.
Some very wonderful thoughts and very interesting insights that you just presented. So that brings us to the last question of today's podcast. And that is, if you could share top 3 recommendations from our show today for all the listeners and viewers who are going to watch our show.
Some things that come to mind is like people think healthy food has to be disgusting, but that's not true. And there's a lot of things that's like, this is diet culture, and that's different from dietetics and nutrition. Diet culture is like people that aren't expert. Like people say, just have like 16 egg whites for breakfast and don't add any seasoning. I see like crazy gym people on Instagram saying that, like, this is healthy. I'm like, no, that's not healthy. Like, it doesn't hurt to have seasoning. I think like we should enjoy our food. It's about quality of life, and it's not all just about calories and whatever. It's about nutrition, and seasonings a lot of times have like good nutrition in it, and you don't want any extreme, no matter what diet you're doing. Have some vegetables in there. Even though there's so much controversial research in nutrition, almost everyone agrees having a ton of vegetables is really good for you. And it's like a common factor in all the diets. And, even basic things like sleeping enough will have such a big impact on like helping you not have as many cravings and wanting to eat too much. Variety in your diet, like we were saying, doing something that works for you. It's not all one size fits all, and try not to compare yourself to others, and listen to people that are actual experts and that are good role models, and not promoting unhealthy behaviors. Because then there's a lot of people that they're like, look, I'm skinny, do what I do. Like we were saying, they're only having supplements and water, and they're like barely eating all day. Oh, you need to eat real food too, and follow people that's realistic. And
So thank you so much, Sharona. It's a pleasure to speak with you today. And I really love talking to you about nutrient-dense food. And you are quite insightful, and there were a lot of learnings that even I can take away from our session today. So thanks once again. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you so much. Me too.
That's a wrap. Thank you for listening to Fitness Pro Chat by Fit Aerobic. We hope you had key takeaways from today's episode and learned something new. Don't forget to download and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. In the meantime, reach out to us on Instagram at Fit Aerobic or through our website, fitaerobic.com. And remember, failures will only make you strong and better learn. Take care, stay healthy, and live a fulfilling life with Fit Aerobic.